Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade, and today we're going to be taking a look at three different ways that you can use to profit from trend lines. So, trend lines are pretty much universally used in trading. Everyone uses a trend line from time to time. Some people use it every day for their entire trading strategy, some people just use them for general support and resistance. But regardless of how you use a trend line, they're out there really predominantly. So they're kind of a big thing, I guess you could say. Now, in terms of trend lines, there's three primary things that you can use trend lines for. The first is going to be pretty common, which is going to be a reversal. You're going to wait for price to, as an example, come into a trend line, look for a sell in this case because it's at the high, and then sell it right back down again. Same with the buys, coming down to the lows, buy it right back up and bring the market higher. So reversals are going to be a really big area that trend lines are going to be pretty good in. Now, the next one is going to be failures. Now, it kind of keeps the same concept as regular support and resistance, right? Where support normally stands if the market comes behind it, it becomes resistance, and then it pushes it right back down again. So one of the things that you can use trend lines for is when you start to break, in this example, there really isn't one. I guess you could draw one from up here down to here. Well, yeah, that'll work actually. And you'll notice if we zoom in on this, I can't zoom in and draw it, but it was somewhere along the lines of there. Once price broke through there, it came back, retested it, and actually gave it a second retest, well, that one's not really a third one, so we'll just say two retests, one here and one here, and bounced higher. So it's the exact same thing as support and resistance, where again, drawing the line straight across, when you have something that acts as support, if it's ever broken underneath, like we had here, when it comes back and revisits that area, it should act as resistance, and it'll keep bouncing back and forth on both sides. So that's another way that you can use trend lines. Now, the next thing is going to be just using it as a profit target. As an example, if I'm long from here and I've got a trend line or a wedge up at the top, my profit target's going to be up in that area because I know a lot of people are going to be selling that location. So now what we can do, now that we've got the three primary things out of the way, is we'll just zoom in and take a look at a couple examples on the chart. So right now I've got the 60-minute drawn up with the trend lines just from the highs and the lows, just like we normally would. So what we'll do is we'll zoom into a 5-minute chart, and we'll take a look at how we could have used these today. So looking at price action today, first of all, really easy to see a couple different things. Now, this trend line was drawn here. Now, we'll disregard these because those weren't here today. So we'll just be using this one that's going straight across here. So this trend line, we came back down into the bottom, didn't quite test it, but started to get a reversal from here. Now, zooming in our entry chart, we may have been able to find, a wave pattern, which I can actually see right here, for us to get into that sort of pattern. So we can use that as an entry or an area of reversal. A perfect example would be when we came up and tested it right here. We wicked right into it, immediately failed, right back down again. So that's an area that a lot of people are going to be looking for, just because it's a common area. A lot of people probably have this trend line drawn on there, and they're able to see really blatantly obvious that when it comes up into that area, it's probably going to get sold and rejected back down. Now, you can also use the previous highs in there, so there's a lot of other things that factor into this, but this also worked, which allowed the market to push lower. Now, in the previous example where we're long down here, looking to go higher, well, we're going to be using this as a profit target up here because we know that if price comes into that area, it's probably going to get pushed back down. Right, so that way we know we can take our profit off at pretty much the high. I mean, if you were able to buy in a wave pattern somewhere in here and sell up here, you took out 80% of the range, which is a really good trade. So that's going to be a couple different ways that you can use them. Now, you can also use them as failures. They're not as prevalent in terms of failures, but we might be able to find one or two of them in here. Now, this is an aggressive one, just using the high to the high. But you can see once we broke through here, we came back and tested it really quick and then snapped higher. And we also, after we broke through it, came back and tested it one more time to the upside. So you can use them for both entries and profit targets for lots of different types of patterns. And they're really useful. Trend lines are a really useful tool that we can use in our arsenal. So those are going to be the three simple ways that you can use trend lines to both profit and take trades off of. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com. Have a good one. Bye.